Hey everybody, my name is Rick Rassier. I'm a motivational speaker. I do teamwork motivation performance training with about 300 athletic corporate groups a year. I teach physical engineering, and I spent about 20 years traveling around the country doing a one-man volleyball show where I use volleyball as a platform to share a drug-free message. I'm an avid freestyle kayaker, and I picked up another sport about a year ago. Whether you're an adult looking to take your fitness to another level, or you're still involved in sports, whether you're a professional athlete, a college basketball player, a high school volleyball player, or if you're one of my students, this video is for you. When I ask my students, how many of you know someone who complains about a back problem, whether it's your parents or other adults, everybody's hands go up. I think most of us know that a lot of people that have back issues, it's directly related to poor hamstring flexibility. Most athletes know that stretching is important, but how many of them actually do it? Whether before their training or after their training, you got to take the initiative. That's one powerful word. Flexibility is just one of the byproducts of stretching. It's not the main reason to do it. We'll talk about some of those. I think the reason a lot of people avoid it is because just the uncertainty about how to stretch, or just basic lack of information. Hopefully this video can help you. One of the most common mistakes made in stretching is overstretching. I think a lot of people grew up in the era where they heard no pain, no gain, and they thought everything was supposed to hurt to get some benefit from it. Stretching, not a good idea. I think of the rubber band theory. If I'm going to stretch this rubber band right before the point it breaks, right before it breaks, there's some little tears in there. Just like a muscle, if you overstretch, if you go too far, you get microscopic tears in the muscle tissue and you actually lose elasticity of the muscle. So the key is to find that light stretch. Some other keys in really looking at from a technical standpoint, basics. Number one is the tension level should subside as you hold. I usually tell people 15-20 seconds, where if you're going to hold a stretch, okay, as I'm holding that stretch, that tension level should subside. In other words, it shouldn't get tighter as I hold, it should gradually get looser as I hold. A lot of people, they go down and it's getting tighter, and they go back down again and it's too far. The other point that you really have to consider is when you hold your stretch, you should be able to breathe naturally. A lot of people go down, they hold their breath, oh, that pain, and no, you go down, relax, you should be able to breathe naturally as you hold that stretch. Those are two very key things. Number one, the tension level should subside. Number two, you should be able to breathe naturally. Now, when you're stretching, every day is different. Stretching is a skill. The skill part of stretching is learning to listen to your body, listen to your muscles. One day, you might be able to go down really far and get a good stretch. Next day, maybe because you didn't stretch out properly after a workout and you're tight, don't go to that point where you think you should go. Go to that point where you feel that light stretch. And then you can always adjust and readjust the tension level. But that's the skill part of stretching that a lot of people miss out on. So two big points that I think are really important. I'm not going to get too much into the different types of stretches, but just always try to get that stretch in the belly of the muscle. Like a lot of times people from the past have been taught, try to touch your head to your knee. No, you want to fold in half at the waist. Okay, and that gets that stretch into the belly of the muscle. Key components. When I think of stretching, I think of three different types. Number one, the warm-up stretch. I tell my elementary kids, if you have a cat at home, watch it. What's the first thing a cat does when it gets up from a cat nap? It stretches. Cats are smart. Warm up, stretch, just a couple minutes. A minute is better than none. Next stretch, the recovery stretch. This is when you stretch out after a tough workout. It's part of your recovery. Flushing that lactic acid out of your bloodstream that's built up after a tough workout on the field court, ice, whatever, in the weight room. Okay, stretching out afterwards is one of the smartest things you can do as an athlete. If you don't want to be stiff and sore the next day, always ask yourself whether or not you stretched that day before. Next stretch, the developmental stretch. One of my favorite places to stretch is in the sauna. With our shutdown, clubs are closed. I've really missed it. But when your body's nice and warm, that's the time to really work on developing your flexibility and maintaining your flexibility. And you might be holding stretches a little bit longer, but spending more time on the whole body, getting the whole body stretched out. After a couple hours on the river, freestyle kayaking, I always make sure I stretch out when I'm done. Just a little bit on my background with stretching and flexibility. 1982, I was a strength coach at St. Cloud State University, working with athletes on their programs. I would tell them to stretch out before a workout, but I never really paid much attention to whether they did. At that point, I really wanted to find out, number one, if I could improve my flexibility, and then number two, whether it would enhance my athletic ability and my recovery from workouts. I'm from a family of 9 kids and 5 brothers, and all of my brothers were stiff as boards. I couldn't even come close to touching my toes after high school. So I was a tough project. But within a year, I was able to develop my flexibility and get down into the splits, and maintaining that has been a crucial part of success for me. Right? Not that you have to be able to do the splits, but flexibility is a byproduct of stretching if you work on it a lot. Whether you're young or old, it's huge. I remember working at a health club down in Minneapolis before I got my teaching license. I was a personal trainer. I had a guy named Max. I'll never forget Max. He was 74 years old, and he, sitting down in a straddle sit, couldn't even get his legs any further than that apart. He had serious back problems, and he came to me asking if I could help him. And I said, hey, Max, it's all flexibility. I worked with Max for about a year. Okay? By the time I was done, I'd say he was like this, and his back problems totally gone. When I left Minneapolis and moved to St. Cloud to work at a health club there, Max cried. Great memory. But for young or old, it's what you need to do. It's a lifetime thing. You make that choice to stretch out. Okay? Maybe put a little post-it sticky note on your bedroom or bathroom mirror to remind yourself to stretch out. Make that choice. That choice becomes a habit, and then that habit becomes a lifestyle, and just plan on doing it for the rest of your life. You can watch TV, you can read a book while you're stretching. It's a great multitasking activity, but there's nothing better than taking it to the next level, and then you get a little bit more flexible, you get excited, you celebrate progress. Go for it.